Why do directors use continuous shots and why do I love them? Well, that's a good question. First, let's look at what a long take actually is. That is, what duration does the shot have to be called continuous shot? The average shot in today's films lasts about 2.5 to 3 seconds. Therefore, we could say that everything longer than that is a long take. But the problem is that the shots always differ in their content, and sometimes 3 seconds are not close to enough for the viewer to notice everything that he should notice in that shot, so we don't feel it lasts exceptionally long. A shot full of content and a lot of information might not be perceived as a long take, although it might last much more than 3 seconds. Therefore, a long take is considered to be one which lasts longer than needed to inform the viewer of key elements of the scene, that is longer than it takes to perceive everything we were supposed to. But when we've perceived everything there is in a certain shot, sometimes by the choice of the director, the shot can continue for much longer. Like all other things that contradict our logical conclusion, the seemingly unnecessary extension of the shot duration obviously wants to emphasize something in that scene and is there for a reason. One of the best examples is the shot from the famous film 12 Years a Slave, where the shot of the half-hanged protagonist lasts as long as 86 seconds, which is almost a minute and a half. It is certainly too much time for the purpose of such a shot to be merely to inform the viewer. It is obvious that by extending the shot, the director wants to emphasize the torture and give us a strong feeling of discomfort that we most certainly get by watching such a scene. And since the shot is much longer than we would expect, the emphasis is much stronger. The director doesn't want us to quickly move on to new insights that the film will provide, but instead wants us to stop for a moment and give us enough time not only to be informed, but also to think about what is happening and to feel the scene. We can see a similar thing in Michael Haneke's film Funny Games, where the shot of a devastated father sitting on the floor and crying lasts unusually long. So after a while the event becomes extremely uncomfortable and very hard to watch. Likewise, when the film is portrayed exclusively with shots that last just enough to perceive the information, the viewer is not left with enough time to be fully immersed in the reality of the film, but is forced to quickly follow the action. A longer take without new events or new information can also be used in films for the purpose of taking a break after intense or emotionally challenging event which causes discomfort, so we definitely need a break, a bit of time to be ready for a new event. But what about continuous shots which follow many different events, so that during the shot they inform us about numerous and different things? Their purpose is not necessarily to emphasize their long duration, and sometimes the viewer is not even aware that he is watching the same shot without interruption. A good example can again be found in the film 12 Years a Slave, when the landowner whips the slave girl, while we witness it all in a single shot, only this time more dynamical and with changing plans. The same is true at the beginning of Shyamalan's film Unbreakable. The doctor comes to the house immediately after the birth. The whole scene takes place in one shot, but by moving the camera quickly and changing plans, we don't get the impression that it lasts too long. The purpose of such long takes, or we could freely say editing without cuts, that is, shot breaks, is to achieve the impression of persuasiveness. There's no time to interrupt the shot, instead everything is happening right now, at this very moment, and the cameraman is just someone who monitors all these events with a camera. When talking about long takes, we must mention a Sam Mendes film 1917, which was shot entirely as a single shot. The purpose of showing a film in a single shot is precisely that of achieving the impression of persuasiveness. The viewer can follow the events throughout the film, so they seem very consistent and authentic. The final scene of the dream from the Titanic is also performed in one single shot. It is this continuity that enhances our sense of a sleep, because everything seems so surreal and perfect. Had it been portrayed with several shots, with cuts in between, the viewer would become aware that there were unshown events happening among the shots. That is all for today's video. We hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you are interested in filmmaking and would like to know more, show us your support by subscribing to the channel. And if you want to get notified when we post something new, click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button. And if there is something regarding films that you're especially interested in, let us know in the comments below.